Have you checked the children? Your little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Bienvenidos, Fright fans. Welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Jaime and Fuego, and back at you for another patron request, doing some catch-up here at the beginning of 2022 for John Fairley. Gracias for the continued support, sir. Greatly appreciated. I'm getting over the captain trips and able to talk a lot better now, which is very nice. And the subject of this is actually I guess you'd still consider it an anthology, even though there's only 2 installments, and it's called Two Evil Eyes, and it was a collaboration, actually, between good friends Dario Argento and George Romero. So yes, of just amazing fame between the two of them. Obviously, Romero probably most known for Zombies, and then, everything Dario, the Giallo and, the stuff that he helped popularize over in Italy. So yeah, the two of them are both big fans of Edgar Allan Poe, though, and so there are 2 stories, as I mentioned. The first one stars Adrienne Barbeau, and that is the one directed by Romero. And then the second one stars Harvey Keitel, and that one it's called The Black Cat, but it's really, that one seemed to me more like a hodgepodge of a bunch of different Poe ideas, specifically in comparison with the first story, the one with Adrienne Barbeau. I just want to double check the title of it. It's, where are we at? The Facts in the Case of M. Valdemar. So I guess I will just hit these in sequential order. Just overall thoughts as a whole. I liked this, but I definitely didn't love it. I had never seen it before. I think I'd mentioned that already. So first time viewing on Tubi as well, which is becoming a destination for horror of an intriguing extent. I mean, the amount of stuff that they have is pretty just daunting, and they just keep amassing more and more stuff. I know that they're owned by a larger parent company now, so that's probably why. You have to deal with commercials, but hey, as far as free viewing, I mean, why the hell not? So I had not watched this before, but the Romero version, which is the more straightforward adaptation of the Poe tale, is essentially about Adrienne Barbeau, and her husband is dying, and he only has a very limited amount of time to live. However, there are certain contractual stipulations before the estate will actually pass over to her, and she's great as far as performance goes. It's another ruthless role for Adrienne, which is so funny because when I met her in person and interviewed her at Mad Monster in Carolina a couple of years ago, she was legit the sweetest thing, and those are more the roles that she plays now. But between her role in The Crate, in the original Creep Show for Romero, I mean, she most definitely has that cruel bitch within her, so to speak, and she taps into it very well in this role because she is diddling the lawyer of her husband, who is dealing with this presumed estate transition because he is terminally ill, and he's knocking on death's door, knocking on heaven's door, to quote old Bobby D. But yeah, so this one, there are a lot of Poe tropes, and this one and the second story that Dario did, I think it was more so the fact that I just remembered that so many Poe tales, whether it's, the Telltale Heart or, even the Black Cat story and this one, the Valdemar, that it's very much about, okay, you kill somebody and then, they're dead, but there is still some essence of life or lingering otherworldliness remaining. So they're dead, but they're not dead, so to speak. Sometimes does, blah. In this case, it's definitely not, because of the fact that Valdemar, after they accident. So okay, I'm not trying to spoil the full extent of it, but he does die, but it's at the hands of Adrienne, her character, and the lawyer, and so they can't reveal his death until I believe it's like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that, or 2 or 3 days. I don't know. There is a distinct amount of time for all of the paperwork and the estate transition to actually happen permanent, for them to get all of this money and be able to run away together or whatever. And so for that reason, they can't reveal that said husband is dead. So they put him in this freezer area, but it becomes relatively evident as both guilt and suspicion and all these different things, and also just apparent otherworldly coincidence and manifestation that dude ain't dead. And so the gore and the practical effects and the makeup effects specifically are quite good in this for 1990. Solid. I believe it was shot in the Pittsburgh area, with the Romero connection, but please don't quote me on that. I do believe it was a primarily Italian crew because of Argento and stuff, and so, but good. And yet, an all too familiar story that I've seen done so many times to this particular point. I mean, this is stretching all the way back to the early EC comics, but obviously those were taking inspiration from the Poes of the world and stuff. And so, but yes, cheating lover, dead spouse, estate money, back from the dead sort of thing. It is very creepy, though, when there's the discussion of who the dead husband, when he is reanimated, is seeing, and he's like, there's this otherworldly presence called the Others, and they're trying to get through, and they're like almost using him, I guess, maybe as kind of a conduit or something, or as somebody who can like help open the door, or at least like nudge it to the slightest degree unlatch, so that whatever can come through. And there is eventually some bloodshed that goes down, most notably at there's something with a chandelier, if I remember correctly, that was pretty dope. But as a whole, this one, it was the extent of familiarity, I think, that really hindered me from really, really liking this. It was solid, good stuff, but as far as just the guilt aspect and the cheating and everything, I've seen these things so many times at this particular point. Perhaps if I had seen this many, many years ago when I was a kid or something like that, it might have hit like a little bit harder. But there are no bad performances in this, and it's really the familiarity of the story that just is a drawback for me. Now, in our second portion, which is the one entitled The Black Cat, and stars Harvey Keitel, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of a lot of different, Edgar Allan Poe stories. Argento's direction is solid, and this one, I think I might actually like this one a little bit better. So, Keitel hates this cat that, his wife has, but also there is, like, feuding between the two of them. They're not married, they have just lived together for X amount of years, as he says countless times, but then there is a disappearance, and then there are cover-ups, and then there is an investigation. There is also, once again, more infidelity based on relationship tension, and there is, distrust. And Keitel, both of our leads in each of these movies, whether it's Adrian Barbeau in the previous one or Keitel in The Black Cat, both performances are very solid. And I always love seeing Keitel playing this kind of like unhinged, obsessive, sort of crazy, evil character. I mean, he's bad news bears in this film, man, and he's quite good. But there is the essence of The Black Cat in the fact that he thinks he kills it at one particular point, and then like he's at this bar, and he's a big boozer in this too. And this cat seems to know him, this black cat that shows up and stuff. And so, is it the same cat? Is the cat not actually dead? Whatever. There are rotting. There's bodies. I'm not going to specify animals or people or whatever, or maybe both, that end up in the walls, especially as some stuff with his significant other lady transpires, and she goes away, and there is just further investigation about him. But once again, I'm not trying to spoil this stuff, but both were relatively adeptly directed. I think I preferred Romero's direction in the Valdemar story, but I feel like I preferred the story at least a little bit more in the Black Cat, Dario's selection here. But neither of these really, I think the reason they're not talked about extensively in the work of either director is because of the fact that they're both adapting other people's work, and also back to that familiarity aspect, the fact that I don't feel like, especially coming in, like if these had been made in like the 30s or even as far as like the 60s or the 70s, I feel like they probably would have resonated at least a little bit more, because we've seen these sort of stories. Now, there is a very awesome, like, gothic and, dare I say, even borderline baroqueness to some of the storytelling, and the fact that the acting is very good, even if it is a little over the top at times. It's not to a degree of schlock. Like, this is more highbrow for sure, and takes itself very seriously, and so definitely props in that regard. But once again, just to double down, this was obviously like kind of a pet project, a passion project for both of these friends, and I will say once again that I don't feel like Two Evil Eyes gets as much attention because of the fact that it's not the finest work of either of these two directors. Not bad by any means, but definitely nothing as revolutionary as some of the other stuff that either of them had done. So once again, thank you so very much, John Fairley. Appreciate your support, man. If you would like to become a patron and up your tier so that you can actually, like, if you're just seeing this in the exclusive videos portion and you would like to request either a review or maybe go a little bit higher up with your support and do a commentary or even a boogie box, all of the information is below. If this does migrate over to our YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe. Y'all know how to do your thing and show some love. We greatly appreciate it. So until next time, fans of the Spooktacular, I've been Fuego. Y'all have been Rat Status, and until next time, remember to stay scared.